So I'm thinking about this that there's three really things that we need to look into. The first one is going to be a financial analysis. Seeing as that this is a go, no go, I'm trying to get through that initial gate and figure out on paper, do the finances make sense? Then second would be operational fit. How does that differ from what we've been doing? And then finally, the strategic fit. How does this align with what our goals are today and maybe 5 years and 10 years from us down the road? Because this is a large investment. So jumping more into the financials, I need to look at the unit economics. So what does it look like on a per battery basis today versus if we are building this factory in Argentina? So revenue per unit, cost per unit. I think with that, we want to be looking at raw material costs, labor costs, shipping and distribution. There's going to be a big shift here because we're now in a new global trade order, if you will. And so this might be cheaper to make the batteries, but more expensive on the back end due to tariffs. I also want to look at the investment costs here. We only have $95 million on hand. We're going to need a rainy day fund. Plus, this is a $600 million decision. So we're going to be raising quite a bit of money. What do the financing costs look like? And then finally, we want to get to an ROI. We want to make sure that we're very confident in this ROI and not just that we're going over our internal hurdle rate, but that we are going way over just because we need to build in some risk modeling. So I'd also build that in. As far as operations, I want to think about the key steps to a plant. So thinking about our throughput, what's the overall capacity? Is this going to be scalable? I know new manufacturing facilities want to build them oftentimes in a modular sense so that you can, as technology changes, you're not locked into an industry right now that is seeing a ton of investment, both for automobiles and just for the globe and kind of across the globe. So really, really important that we're building this in the sense that we can kind of change the factory as the technology improves. Then I want to look at kind of what's our ability for this capacity to reduce our current constraints. That's one of our goals is to, increase our throughput. And finally, I want to think about supply chain and labor considerations in Argentina. It is one of the more stable countries and from a geopolitical sense in South America, but they have undergone kind of a big political shift in recent years. And how do we think about that? And then finally, let's talk about the strategic fit. So we are accomplishing one goal by getting closer to our suppliers, but we're also changing this where we're getting further away from most of our manufacturing customers. We mentioned Ford and Rivian. Most of those are being manufactured in the US. So how does that strategically fit?